Are you satisfied coming out of Lost with the fate of your character, the ultimate fate?
Extremely satisfied.
I'm very satisfied with how they resolved my character, if you can call it a resolution. In terms of that's for the viewer to decide. But I was certainly I was certainly content with the way they dealt with it, and I haven't seen the finale. I've only read 10 of the 11 acts, but I liked very much what I read.
I am delighted with the resolution of Benjamin Linus. It couldn't have. It's beyond my best hopes. It's perfect.
Did you know that you'd be coming back, A, as a ghost, and B, to answer one of the running mysteries of the series?
I knew I'd be coming back to answer one of the mysteries of the series, but I didn't know what I was going to answer until I got there and they handed me the thing. I was like, oh, that's what the whispers are, of course. And then I was a little bummed out for Michael. Because, now he's stuck. He's got nothing. He's got no friends. He's got no son. He's a ghost on an island. That's really strange. So I felt bad for the character.
Walt, I don't even know where he's at this point right now. He's just all over the place. He keeps moving around, but I think he might be home right now or something like that. Look and find out.
This season of Lost has been, with the alternate reality, it's been about revisiting characters from the past. Is there a chance that we'll get to see Matthew Abaddon show up in these final hours?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I tend to doubt it. I think Matthew Abaddon has seen his last sunrise.
Well, what do you think about the end of that character then?
Well, I was disappointed, but my feeling about it is that it's, I learned this both from working with Tom Fontana and David Simon. When you're dealing with storytelling that's this good, and you have the privilege to work with it as an actor, particularly something that's so plot-driven, and yet the characters are so rich that it almost feels character-driven. Sometimes you just got to surrender to, the story is the story.
This season, we've got to revisit some characters that we got to see die previously because of the Flash Sideways universe. We got to see Daniel Faraday again. With the remaining hours, will we get to see him even more?
I think there's a gorgeous chance of that, Matt. I think there's also a gorgeous chance that I might get taken out by an ABC sniper if I reveal too much. But that was a really great try. I think there's a pretty golden chance.
So you're reunited with Sun on the show, and then a week later, you're drowned. What was that like to go through? It must have been pretty wrenching.
It was kind of the top of the mountain and then the kind of the bottom of the valley, right? In 2 weeks. But that's what's great about this show. Just when you think that it's giving you one thing, it'll give you something else.
Coming off the last episode, Across the Sea, are there things that we learned in that episode that will play in the remaining hours of this series?
Yeah, there absolutely are things in Across the Sea that are relevant for the finale. I mean, I would be very curious about what that mysterious heart of the island was. We saw the man in black wash over a waterfall into some sort of a strange, mysterious underground cavern. As a fan, I'd be curious to know more about that. I would hope that the show would answer some questions about that.
And how would you explain Jake? Because we know that Jacob thinks that man is utterly redeemable, and it has this side bet going with the man in black. Where does that come from, seeing as how his mother sort of believed the opposite?
Well, Jacob has an advantage that most people don't, which is that he sort of lives outside society, and one could argue that as a result of his brother moving in with these people, that he ultimately had to accept that man was evil and flawed and dangerous and greedy because he feels those things in himself. And when Jacob's a kid, he basically, mother's saying all these bad things about people, he says, but I thought we were people too. And she says, we're not like them. And I think Jacob is very fascinated by his his own inherent nature and how it plays out. And you can see that in perhaps the decisions by the candidates he's chosen.
It seems like Ben right now is on a path to redemption. Is he still someone we can trust, though?
Well, he does seem that way. I don't know that you have cause to trust him any more than you ever have, because he's capable of both, isn't he? Yeah, that story's not over. There's going to be some back and forth.
You got to have the Richard episode of a lifetime this season with Abba Turno. What was it like to not just get a flashback episode, but this wrenching love story as well?
I was blown away. I was really grateful to the writers for writing this, this tremendous episode. And like you said, they really broke convention by not going to the flashback or even sideways or or anyway, and really sort of focusing on that time period. So it was a real treat for me to get to do that. And I didn't know that they were also going to address sort of mythological elements of the island along with my backstory. So it was I was blessed everywhere, all the way around.
This season, we got to see Hurley take more of a leadership role on the island, and Jack sort of take a back seat. What was that like for you?
That was fun. That was a good scene. I liked shooting that episode. I mean, I kind of handed the reins back pretty fast, but getting those moments in that episode and just getting to it kind of left me open to make some interesting, bold choices that I kind of had fun doing as an actor.
When you first started reading the scripts for this season with the Flash Sideways universe, what were your initial thoughts? Are you someone who tries to figure things out? What were your impressions?
It was there's a little bit of a, there's definitely a little bit of head scratching. Like, wait a minute, what was that again? And reread a certain page and stuff like that. But once we got to about that halfway mark and you could see the Flash Sideways kind of make that turn, and stuff starts paying off as people start kind of like, waking up to the island's existence. That was started getting really exciting.
We just came off of last week was the Man in Black and Jacob's origin, but before that we had some pretty impactful deaths. What was it like for you when you went through those scenes in that episode?
It's hard. I mean, it's tough when we lose people on the show. There's a certain element in the final season that kind of lined it up a little bit, and we knew that certain people, like for example, when Ilana dies, we knew she was already in the next script, so it's like, well, it's not goodbye just yet, and I knew that certain people. With this whole new Flash Sideways, that it doesn't necessarily mean they're moving away just yet, and so that there's still more to be seen and to be told.